Assalamu alaikum. My dear students, how are you? I hope you are doing good by the grace of Almighty and you are following all the precautionary measures to keep yourself safe from the infection of coronavirus. Welcome to today's online class arranged by National University. I'm your teacher Shaz Dr. Asma, lecturer, Department of English, Government Tolaram College, Naranganj. As usual, today I'm going to talk about 17th and 18th century non-fictional prose. Course code is 231105. So today I'm going to talk about Bacon's essay of Great Place. In my today's class, my focus will be on particularly Bacon's thought on professional achievement and its consequences on man in high position as reflected in his essay of Great Place. So, Bacon is really very pragmatic, realistic, and in all his essays, he tries to give us some tips about something of our real life. So this essay is not an exception. In this essay, in the same way, he's going to talk about some practical things and he suggests some tips for us. Okay, so let's start today's class. At first, he talks about the situation of a man in high position. I mean, what happened to a man after achieving high position in a profession? As Bacon was a statesman, it is said that in most of his thought in this essay, he's actually talking about high position in a political field. So a man, at first he is saying here that a man in high position is the servant of three things. They are the servant of government, they are the servant of fame, they are the servant of time. So what he wants to mean that after achieving high position in a profession, a man becomes servant to something else. I mean, at first he becomes the servant of government. That means he has to follow some rules set by his office or his or the government of the state. Secondly, he becomes the servant of fame. I mean, the servant of social expectation. Fame means social expectation. When a man will be in high position, he will become a social figure, a public figure. So at that moment, he have to live his life in such a way which can't tarnish his image in society. Okay, this is sometimes really a burden because he always can't do things according to his will. He has to always follow some rules and regulation. The third thing he is saying here that a man become the servant of time. What I mean by this, what I understand by this is that when a big man reach high position, he has to follow his schedule strictly. He has to be very punctual. He has to live a busy life. For this reason, he becomes servant of time. Then he can't do anything according to his will. He can't waste time, or he can't spend little moment for his own interest or for his own wish. Okay, according to his own wish, he has to follow his schedule appointments strictly in order to keep his image, or in order to maintain his position, his high position. So in these three things, that a man becomes the servant of government, a man becomes the servant of fame, a man becomes the servant of time after reaching high position, our Bacon wants to say that a man in high position lost his liberty after getting in a high position. Okay, men in great place are thrice servants: servants to the sovereign or state, servants of fame, and servants of business. So as they have freedom, neither in their persons, nor in their actions, nor in their times. So they have freedom neither in their persons. It means that in their personal life, they don't have freedom. In their actions, in their activities, they don't have freedom. That means they can't do things according to their will. In their time, they are not freedom. It means that they can't use their time, their day according to their wish. They have to follow an appointments or schedule strictly, as I told you before. Second thing, which our Bacon says here, that men know that they might lose freedom after gaining power or reaching in high position, but they still want power or dominance over everything. Men know that they might lose freedom after gaining power or reaching in high position, but they still want power or dominance over everything. So before pursuing for a high position, a man is well known about the fact that he might need to sacrifice his time, his freedom. But still, he wants to achieve that high position because he is ambitious. Okay, he wants that power in life. Third thing, which our Bacon say, that men reach high position by working hard, but even in that high position, they don't get peace, rather endure more hardships. Endure means tolerate more hardships. Hardships means more hard work. So, in order to reach a high position, a man has to work hard. In order to achieve a high position, a man has to work hard, but it does not mean that after reaching a high position, a man would get everything in life, peace or everything. No. Even after reaching that high position, a man has to work more. It becomes more tough for a man to keep hold over that high position after achieving that high position. For this reason, he has to work hard. He has to be more conscious, more hardworking after achieving a high position. So the rising unto place is laborious. Laborious means, need to work hard, and by pains men come to greater pains. This is really a wonderful line. By pains men come to greater pains. I mean, in order to achieve a high position, a man work hard, but after reaching that high position, a man has to work more. Okay. Fourth, men do some immoral things or compromise with immortality in order to reach high position. Men do some immoral things, okay, some things which is not moral, um, and compromise with immortality, and that means he has to do something bad in order to reach high position. But this high position is not stable. It is not stable. A man it does not ensure a man that after reaching high position he will be able to stay in that high position for a long time. No, this high position not stable. Okay, it is not permanent, as they can fall from that high position at any moment. A man can fall that high position any moment. It is not stable, it's not permanent, it is not it does not mean that he will stay that position in that high position for a long time. It does not. He can fall from that position anytime. He can experience a downfall anytime. It becomes a sad thing for them as a man do not find any purpose for living anymore after falling from that high position. So that high position is so amazing or so aspiring for a man, so enjoyable for a man, that after losing that high position, if he ever loses that high position, he becomes frustrated. And after losing that high position, a man does not find any purpose in life to live his life. And this is the negative outcome of a high position. This is the negative thing which can happen with a man in high position. Okay, so by indignities men come to dignities. I mean, by doing some immoral things, by compromising with some corruption, a man come to dignities. I mean, a man can achieve the fame, the social respect of a high position. Okay, but the standing is slippery. The standing is slippery. What is slippery? That high position is slippery, and the regress is either a downfall or at least an eclipse, which is melancholy thing. I mean, a man may face a downfall, may experience a downfall from that high position, or after some time people may, I mean, maybe he would not be any more important for that position. Okay, so that could be a melancholy thing, that could be a sad thing for a man. Later he is giving us giving us a Latin phrase, cum non sequi pueris. Actually it is Latin, it is not English. Non esse carvalis vivere. So what does it mean? It means that when a man feels that he is no longer what he was, he has no reason to live longer. After achieving a high position, when a man is in high position, he must enjoy some facilities in that high position. He gets all the attention from people around him. He's superior. But after downfall, he lost everything. And he does not have that fame, social status, attention, superiority, respect anymore. And it does something with his mental condition, and he does not find any reason or any purpose to live. Okay, so later he says, our Bacon says, regardless of how powerful a man is, he always seeks others' opinion to become happy. A man in high position always wants attention, opinion, respect from other people. Other people might be compelled to express good views about them as they are powerful. Might be compelled. I mean, we always try to please those people who are in high position. It's not it. Okay. And because they might want something that man. Okay. Or they really adore that man. They really admire that man. Or maybe the position of that man is so powerful that other people around him do not want to criticize him. Okay, because other people in the society or around him think that criticizing that man, in that powerful man in high position, might bring or might cause some harm for them. For this reason, people around a powerful man in high position always talk sweet things, good, always express good views about that man, even if that powerful man in high position is not a good person, or even if that powerful person in high position does not possess all those positive things, still other people around him might express good views or good comments about that powerful man. It is a realistic thing in our society. It happens. You will feel it after reading this essay. If you observe carefully around you, you will understand that Bacon is really very realistic. Okay, and he is talking here from his experience. So what does our Bacon says here? Certainly great persons had need to borrow other men's opinions to think themselves happy, for if they judge by their own feeling, they cannot find it. But if they think with themselves what other men think of them, and that other men would fain be as they are, then they are happy as it were by report. When purpose, they find the contrary within. Okay, so would fain be as they are. This is actually an expression directly by Bacon, what I have told here previously, that a man in high position always seek opinion from other people around him, and the people around him, and those people, those powerful people in high position, can't find any judgment for themselves, can't judge themselves. This is a lackings in a shortcomings in them, that for some regions, those powerful men in high position can't criticize themselves, can't find faults with themselves. Okay, the other people around them also do not criticize them because they are powerful, so other people always try to praise them. Okay, it is kind of sometimes they even shower flattery words on them, words or comments or phrases which are not true. Okay, and then men in high position do not find fault in themselves, and they can't take care of themselves as they are too busy with the affairs or business of high position. Here we will find two characteristics of men in high position. One is they will never find any fault with themselves, which means that they misjudge themselves. They can't realistically or truly judge themselves. Second thing is that they can't take care of themselves because they are too busy with their job, profession, schedule, appointments. Okay, for this reason, they can't take care of themselves. They can't give themselves time. For they are the first that find their own griefs, though they be the last that find their own faults. I mean, they can understand in what griefs, in what sadness they are in, but they will never find any faults, any mistakes they made. They will not understand. Okay. Certainly, men in great fortunes are strangers to themselves. They are strangers to themselves. Why? Because they can't judge themselves. They are blind to their own faults, own mistakes. And while they are in the pursuit of business, they have no time to tend to their health, either of body or mind. So it is actually a matter of sorrow. This is the sacrifice which a man in high position has to do, has to make, and that is they can't take care of themselves. They can't take care their mind, their mental health, or their physical health. This is the sacrifice which he has to maintain, which he has to make in order to reach that high position, and in order to maintain that high position. And then in high position, man can do both good and evil things. Doing evil is a curse, while trying to good is aspiring and can satisfy the conscience of a person. At the same time, it helps getting reward from God. Besides, if a man have good thoughts, they would try to shape them in practical life. So see, a lot of ideas are given here by Bacon. At first, he says that in high position, man can do both good and evil things. He can do both good things and evil things. He can be a good person, he can be a bad person. Doing evil is a curse. Okay, while trying to good is aspiring and can satisfy the conscience of a person. So I mean, in a high position, if a person do something evil, it is a curse. It is a curse for himself, and it is a curse for the society. But if he try to do something good, it can be aspiring. It can bring some success in the life of a person and also for the society. And at the same time, it can satisfy his conscience. I mean, it can boost up his mental health, his morality. At the same time, it helps getting reward from God. God will also reward a man if he do something good from the society. Besides, if men have good thoughts, they would try to shape them in practical life. Besides, if men have good thoughts, they would try to shape them in practical life. If a person possesses some good thoughts in life, he would try to implement them in practical life. For example, if a man wants to donate some money to a poor person, then one day he will certainly do that. So at first a man has to possess good thoughts, has to think something good. If he thinks something good for people, for society, or for others, one day he will try to do that good things. This is the thought of our Bacon. In place, what does he say? Look at the screen. In place, there is license to do good and evil, whereof the latter is a curse. I mean, evil is a curse. For in evil, the best condition is not to will, the second not to can, but power to do good is the true and lawful end of aspiring. Okay, that means that a man in high position can do both good and bad things, but he should always try to something good. Okay, and for good thoughts. Why? Because if he do, or if he thinks something good, he will be rewarded from God, and at the same time that person will um, try to implement or try to make that thoughts or that dreams come true one day. Okay. So later he says that man in high position should judge not only his behavior but also behavior of others. When a man will be in high position, he has to be very careful. He will not only judge his behavior, I mean, he has to check his behavior every now and then so that he can't make any mistake, because a mistake, even a slight mistake in his position, could bring his downfall. For this reason, a man has to be very careful in order to avoid any mistake. And if he judges himself continuously, he will be able to avoid any mistake. Or if he ever does any mistake, he will be able to find out that and will be able to learn something from that mistake and will not do that mistake in future. This is a suggestion for a man in high position from Bacon, that a man should always check his behavior. If he do anything wrong, he has to correct it immediately, and he can't do that mistake in future again, because it can cause downfall for him from that high position. And at the same time, our Bacon says that a man in high position should also check the behavior of the people around him. For example, he has to judge the behavior of those people with whom he is working. Okay, because his judgment can make him unable to understand a person. In this way, he will be able to understand whether that person is a good or bad, or that person is trying to harm him or not. What our Bacon wants to say here, that a man has to be very careful in his position in order to keep hold his position. So, and should draw a comparison between his behavior and others' behavior, which will help him find his shortcomings. So our Bacon wants to say that he has to judge his behavior, and at the same time he has to judge the behavior of other people. And finally, he has to make a comparison between his behavior and the behavior of other people. Why? Because in this way, that person will be able to find his shortcomings. When you will compare your behavior with the behavior of another person. For example, you are very angry, arrogant, but your brother, elder brother or sister is very calm and quiet and considerate, understanding, caring. So if you compare your behavior with the behavior of your sister, you will understand your shortcomings. You will understand that this is not good. You are being arrogant. You are being angry. And then you will try to mend your behavior, try to correct your behavior. You will try to be caring, understanding, calm and quiet like your sister. Okay, so for this reason, our background suggests that a person in high position should always judge his behavior and at the same time should judge the behavior of other people around him. Why? Because this judgment will help him to draw or to make a comparison, and ultimately, if he understands any if he finds out any shortcomings in his behavior, he will be able to correct that shortcomings or try to overcome that shortcomings. His judgment of other people will also help him to keep distance from others. How a person or why a person in high position will keep distance from other person? A powerful person in high position, if a powerful person in high position finds any fault in the behavior of other person, he will try to avoid that person because he will understand that that person would harm him one day. So he will be cautious about that person and try to avoid that person or try to keep distance from that person in order to keep his position safe and stable. So now here our Bacon will talk about some problems which in the essay he mentions biases in high position. I mean, what problems or what biases a person can do in high position. And he also here suggests some solutions to overcome those problems or biases. Okay, 4 biases or problems and their solutions are listed by Bacon. In this essay, four problems are listed and at the same time some solutions are listed. Problem 1, delays. If a man in high position comes late in office, it will have a negative impact on his career. So he must avoid these biases or these mistakes. He can't do these mistakes again in his life. Okay, so what solution Bacon is giving here in order to avoid this bias or this problem, delays? The solution which is given by Bacon is a person should be punctual and appoint time and follow it. That means a person should follow a schedule and he should be punctual. Okay, he should not come late in any place. Neither it would have a negative or destructive impact on his career. Problem 2 is corruption. Bias 2 is corruption. A man in high position should not do any corruption, should not be involved in any corruption, because one day this corruption might bring downfall for that person. For this reason, a man in high position should not should not be involved in any corruption. What is the solution suggested by our Bacon? You all understand what is corruption. Corruption is bribery. I mean, a man should not take any bribe or should not give any bribe in high position. So solution for problem 2 or bias 2, corruption, is a person should control not only himself or his servants from receiving bribes. A person should control not only himself or his servants from receiving bribes, but also prevent the suitors or bribe offer givers from offering bribe. I mean, a person must control himself from taking any bribe. He will also warn staffs of his office from taking any bribe, any kind of bribe. These steps would be taken by a person in high position in order to keep himself safe from corruption. But in addition to this, he has to follow another solution. What is that? Those person who want to give, bribe, or who offer bribe, a powerful person or a person in high position must check those person. Okay, must control those person. He should not allow those person who offer bribe around him. He must avoid that kind of persons in order to keep himself safe from any kind of mistake or fault. Okay. The third problem is roughness, arrogance, rude. So when a man reach high position, he can be very boast of his position. For this reason, he can be sometimes, arrogant or rude. But our background considers this a vice, a problem for high position. Okay, a man should not be rude, arrogant towards his staffs in the office, or to other customers or clients, public figure or other public. When he will be in high position, he have to be calm, quiet, and he has to possess sweet nature. He has to be very calm and quiet, and he has to possess sweet nature. So what is the solution of the problem? Roughness. The rude or authoritative behavior, controlling behavior. When he will be in a high position, when he will be powerful, he will try to control everything around him. He will try to control everything around him. It is common in our society. A powerful person always tries to control everything around him. He always tries to dominate other people's activities or lives. So our background says that the rude or authoritative behavior of a man in high position might make his workers discontent, dissatisfied. When a person in his office will be rude, arrogant, cruel, his staffs will be dissatisfied and they will not help them properly. So he should show kind behavior to others. So a man in high position must show kind behavior to his staff in order to get the best outcome from his staffs. Okay. So problem 4, facility, nepotism. Problem 4 is facility or nepotism. Nepotism means when a person gives any special favor, any special treatment to his relative, kins, friends. It calls nepotism. When a person will be in high position, he has to consider each and everyone in the society same way. He can't prioritize his relatives, his friends. He can't give them any special benefits. A man in high position can't give any special benefits or any special favor to his friends or relatives. He has to be, neutral. He has to be kind, or he has to be helpful to each and everyone in the society. He should not show any special behavior or any special attitude to his relatives, kins, friends. Okay. Solution 4 is and the solution for this vice is it is worse than bribery. Our background says that nepotism, I mean, giving special facilities or special benefits to any person connected to the person in high position is even worse than bribery. Okay, so one should avoid it. So a person should avoid this. Person should avoid this nepotism. And now the question, sample questions on this essay. I'm going to talk about some questions from this essay. What are vices of high place as suggested by Bacon in the essay of Great Place, and what are their solutions? So here you have to talk about vices. We are going to talk about vices. I mean, in this, if it is a short question, you have to talk about the vices of a high position, as Bacon, which Bacon, I mean, says, which Bacon suggests in this essay. You have to talk about those vices or those problems in this, in the answer of this question, and you have to also provide the solutions as given by Bacon in this question. Okay. So in this question, you will, in the answer of this question, you will talk about the problems or vices which Bacon suggests in the essay, and also you will provide the solutions of those vices as given by Bacon. The second question is, in what way does the essay of Great Place reflects Bacon's idealism? It is a kind of, I mean, broad question. How in this essay you will talk about his idealism. Okay. So in order to give a good answer of this question, you can read his biography, and you can give some examples from his biography of how he, I mean, how he try to implement his ideas, idealism means his moralities, his good thoughts. Okay. And you will relate his biography with the essay of Great Place. Write down some of the traits of characters of man in high position as described by Bacon in Of Great Place. So trait of characters, I mean, you will here talk about the characteristics of man in high position. For example, he can't find any fault in himself. He can't take care of himself. He can't take care of his mental health or his, I mean, physical health. He loses his liberty, his freedom, and he becomes the servant of government, time, and fame. Okay, so these are the characteristics of men in high position. You can talk about all these things. You can write down all these things in the answer of this question. It is kind of short question, but I think you will be able to answer this question properly. So my dear students, I hope that you have enjoyed my today's class, and you will be benefited if you listen carefully and watch this class. For today's class, from today's class, I'm going to say you goodbye. See you in the next class. Till then, take care. Allah Hafiz. And of course, and also I want to thank you for attending this class. Okay.